What's up, everybody? Good afternoon. I know I'm a little bit late on this. I know we've had the injury report and practice report out for a little bit here, but I was otherwise occupied. Couldn't quite get to the video until now, but here we are. And we've got an injury report to talk through here that, I mean, it could have been worse, like the title of the video says, but you certainly wouldn't call it good for the Seattle Seahawks, right? Especially given who we're playing, especially given the circumstance. This is not what you really wanted to see. But we're seeing it, so let's talk about it. Latest from Bob Condotta here on X with details. Let's go through. So, game status, that's obviously what we care about. And I'll tell you, in silver linings, nobody's listed as doubtful and nobody's listed as questionable. So the only thing we have to worry about is this right here, the out column. The out row, or what is it? Column would be this, row would be that, but the out box, I guess. Unfortunately, that out box includes a few starters. And there are some players that I think that we need. So let's go through it here. Jarek Reed out. That one we'll just mention right off the top. That one's expected. He did actually fully participate in practice today, according to the team. But he's just coming off IR, so we're taking it easy with him. I wasn't expecting to have him this week. Even if he was active, he wouldn't play that much. He would probably be just a special teamer. So that one, whatever. Stone Forsythe out after missing practice today for the third straight time with a hand injury. He is out of there. So we are now down to a fourth string right tackle. And we actually already know who that right tackle is. Mike McDonald has already said that Mike Jarrell is getting the start and that Jason Peters will not be called up from the practice squad. So Mike Jarrell may be getting the whole game. If he doesn't, then maybe it's a situation where a guy like Sundle gets a few reps at right tackle. But realistically, Jarrell is playing the whole game unless he gets hurt. Division II Mike Jarrell is getting a start in an NFL regular season game. And, I mean, it's cool, but it's also terrifying. We have mixed emotions here, people. And I know some people are going to say, well, you can't do worse than Stone Forsythe. Maybe that's true. I'm open to that. But at the same time, I don't know. Because Stone Forsythe, one thing you can say about him, yeah, he was getting beat up in the pass rush game. He wasn't really run blocking all that well. He also wasn't really getting that many penalties. He was at least moving in tempo. What if Mike Jarrell is Stone Forsythe, but without the rhythm and tempo of the offense, so he's getting a bunch of penalties? What if he's moving before the snap? What if he's moving after the snap? Like, it can get worse. It can't get a lot worse because Forsythe has been so rough out there. But believe me, it can get worse. So I'm not going to sit here and act like we got to pop bottles or, pop corks out of bottles or I don't know. I don't drink it, so I don't know how that works, but I know it has something to do with corks and bottles because Stone Forsythe is out. No, I believe that Forsythe is out there over Jarrell for a reason. So that's not my favorite, but a bigger deal would probably be what's going on at the cornerback position. Trey Brown is out after not practicing today. Reek Woolen is out after not practicing today. Seahawks are going to do what they can to cover for all this. Dugar has mentioned that McDonald has said he's hoping that they will be back next week, so at least this is going to be a short-term thing, it looks like. But for the moment, we don't have them. So Fionn Hicks and Josh Joby will be elevated for the Sunday game. So those are the guys who are going to be replacing them on the depth chart, but if you're looking at who's going to replace them on the field, you've got Witherspoon, of course. You've at least still got him. But remember, you have no Artie Burns. So you're looking at a lot of Nehemiah Pritchett, right? You're looking at probably Kobe Bryant having to play some cornerback. You're looking at really wishing we hadn't traded Mike Jackson before the season started. This is not what you needed when you're about to play Drake London, Ray McLeod, and Darnell Mooney. And while we're at it, let's throw Kyle Pitts in there because he's basically a wide receiver. So this is not what I was hoping to see on these reports. I was hoping we would at least get Woolen back. I think having Woolen in a game like this is a big deal. And not having him, that has to change the way I perceive this game. It just does. So, Trey Brown, I mean, it wouldn't be as big a deal to not have Trey Brown if we had Woolen or if we had Burns, but we don't. So I think losing Trey Brown in this context really matters a lot too. So, combine it with Rayshon Jenkins, and this secondary is beat up right now, and we're about to face a really good passing attack with a really good set of receivers. So, not great. Not what you want to see. McDonald did have some comments about Rayshon, by the way. Had surgery on his hand. Team expects him to play again this season. Now, that comment doesn't mean a lot right now, because, quite honestly, that's the same thing they keep saying about Abe Lucas, and then Abe Lucas just never gets back on the field. So I will personally understand if you as a Seahawks fan decide you're not going to place any value into that comment. But I do think that Rayshon will be back later this season, and by the time he's back, we'll probably be very glad he's back, because I'm not anticipating the guys behind him to do much better than Rayshon can do. So at least we got that. At least this is all, like, short-termish stuff, right? We got Reek Woolen and Trey Brown likely back next week. We got Rayshon coming back later this year. We're still hoping Abe Lucas can come back. That's the one thing about these injuries, right? We're getting plenty of injuries, but they're not season enders. It's kind of like what happened the year the Seahawks won the Super Bowl. They had plenty of injuries that year. A load of injuries. But almost everybody came back by the end of the season. The one guy who didn't was like Sidney Rice, right? So I guess that's good, but you got to make the playoffs for that to even come into consideration, right? All right, so that's the Seahawks side of things. It's not good. The upshot is that we don't see any injury report presence for anybody else, right? Because the DNP list is Forsyth, Brown, and Woolen. Everybody else was a full participant today. Lockett, looks like that was just a rest thing more than anything. McIntosh, not that he plays, full participant. Murphy, full participant, so he's very close to all the way back. Bradford, full participant, so he's good to go. Chenault, full participant, so the injury was nothing. Connor Williams, full participant. Boye Mafe, Leonard Williams, both full participants. And Julian Love, full participant still. So none of those guys got worse. A couple of them got better. And we're going to need it right now, right? Especially a guy like Mafe and Williams. At the least, we have our starting front seven outside of Uchenna. Right? You've got Mafe and Hall on the edges. You've got Leonard Williams. You've got Murphy. You've got Jaron Reed. You've got Draymond Jones. You've got almost your entire front seven. So at least you can say maybe we can get some pressure to offset our secondary being so beat up. But that Atlanta offensive line is no joke. They got some real good players over there. They're keeping Kirk Cousins immobile, though he may be upright so far. So it's still not going to be fun. It's not going to be easy. But at least we have a decent bill of health here. All right, so the Falcons side of things real quick. Their injury report is also short, but actually fairly significant. So they've got two players that are listed as out, and they're both linebackers. Troy Anderson is out with a knee injury. Lorenzo Carter is out with a concussion. By the way, Lorenzo Carter actually plays more for that Falcons defense than I thought. He plays about half the snaps. He's a relatively important player to that team. Not that they have a good defense, so I don't know if you can say that anybody in that front is all that important except for maybe Grady Jarrett, but they are going to be testing their depth at linebacker with no Carter and no Anderson. Anderson in particular, I think, was blossoming into a pretty good player. I know that it wasn't resulting in good results in terms of how that Falcons defense plays, but I think those guys are closer to the solution than they are to the problem. So Lorenzo Carter, Troy Anderson are out. Questionable, and this would be big, Justin Simmons. Justin Simmons, one of the best safeties of this era. In a different context, if he didn't spend his whole career on crappy Broncos teams, he'd probably be in line to make the Hall of Fame. Questionable. And the thing there is that he's an older player. So he practiced yesterday. I think he practiced some today. But that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be able to play when you're an older player. If he was younger, I'm sure he'd be playing through a hamstring injury, but now we don't know. So a Falcons defense that already kind of stinks could stink a lot more without their linebackers and without their starting safety. Antonio Hamilton Sr. also questionable. I imagine that he's going to play because he was a full participant in practice yesterday and I think today again. But we'll see what happens there. So they got their own problems. The Falcons got their own problems. They're not going to feel bad for us. They're missing serious horses on their defense as well. But yeah, it's a mishmash of key players potentially missing this game. And yesterday I did the show with the Hawks Nest. I said I thought the Seahawks were going to win this game. I got to admit, like, I know that this is not nothing either. I know the Falcons got their problems, but I'm going to say this. My pregame video comes out tomorrow. It's going to be a lot harder to stand by that prediction with Reek Woolen on the sideline. I just got to be real here. All right. See you guys later. Go Hawks. More videos later, but let's just chew on this injury report for a little bit.